Hello and welcome to Very Wool. My name's Diana Hawthorne and you can find me online as Delaware Spinster. Thank you for watching my first podcast episode. This is really exciting for me, but it also makes me nervous, and I think sometimes that's good. So we're going to see how it goes. Okay, so this is definitely a knitting podcast, but it's also a spinning podcast. I do a lot of spinning. I also crochet and weave with what I spin sometimes. I dye my own yarns, and I do a lot of other sort of fiber arts as well, including sewing, cross stitch, etc. So I might get into some of those things sometimes too. But thank you for joining me in my journey, and I'm going to start like most podcasts and tell you what I'm wearing. So this is also my major finished object this week. I just finished a test knit for Joji Locatelli. This is the Evanescence cardigan, and I'm going to try to not mess up my mic too much when I show you this. Okay. So as you can see, this is an all-over lace cardigan, and it's quite long. The Evanescence, as she designed it, had 6 colors in a fade, and I went ahead and dyed my own yarn for this. She recommended mohair silk, and this is a Surrey silk lace. It's the Pluma base from Nomad if you're a dyer. I absolutely love how it came out. I chose to do 9 colors. I chose colors that I liked, and I think it came out great. I'm really happy with it. I'm happy with the fit. Overall, I blocked it before I did the I-cord bind off, so I still have some little strings that are tucked in there and need to be trimmed maybe a little bit more, but I think it looks great, and it is so light and so comfy. So I do highly recommend this if you have a fair amount of patience. It was a long knit for me, but it's also my first all over lace cardigan or garment. So anyway, so that's my big finish for the week, and you can see my details on my Ravelry page about that, and I posted about it on Instagram as well. But it was a really exciting adventure for me. The dyeing came out exactly how I wanted it, and I actually have a good bit of yarn left over, which I'm starting to plan for future projects as well. But yeah, I finished it pretty much just in time to still wear it a little bit. I don't imagine I'm going to wear this in summer in this climate. I'm in Delaware, which is northeastern United States. It gets pretty warm in the summer, so I tend not to wear my knits as much at that point in time, but we will see. I don't know. I did do a shorter sleeve. I don't do long sleeves. I really don't. I have a few long sleeve sweaters and they don't get enough wear. It kind of drives me nuts when I'm doing all my spinning and baking and knitting to have long sleeves. I don't know what it is. That's my thing. So at any rate, I'm really happy with this. And that's my big finished object for the week. I will say that I don't finish a sweater every week. How would I? I know some people are a lot more prolific than I am. I have a full-time job outside of doing this. So yeah, I don't finish as many sweaters as I would like to. But at the same time, I'm really proud of the things that I do get to finish. So I think it's worth sharing some other things. So one of the finished objects that I have that came out earlier this month is an article in Ply. So the Ply Grow issue, if you're a spinner, you may know Ply. I love Ply. I have all of their issues, but I was really excited for this issue to share an article about wool growth and the things that can go wrong as wool is growing. And I think that's a really exciting finished object for me as well. So feel free to check out Ply. Anyway, my plug for Ply is over. Sorry. I do love them. But the other thing I wanted to share as a finished object is actually going to get us right into whips. So I finished a spin from Pancake and Lulu's Festive Fiber Advent, Festive Tasty Fiber Advent from December. Yes, it took me a few months, but I was really happy with the spin. These are 3 of the skeins. I do have 5 total, but you'll see why I'm only showing you these 3. You can see it's got a lot of warm tones, a lot of sort of bright pinks and corals, which I love, but then also some sort of buttery yellow and mauve. This spin took me a while, but it was so much fun. I mostly spun on my spindles. This is a 2-ply DK. It's really, really squishy. It's all merino, and it was similar to Yarn Advents in that there were 25 individual, I think there were 1 ounce each portions. And then at the end, the last day, you also got a full skein if you wanted, or a full 100-gram bump of fiber. So I really enjoyed working through this. It was super fun. I definitely want to sign up to do next year's because this was my kind of advent. It lasted several months just with working through the fiber. So I did get to feel like I kind of stretched out the advent. I didn't open fiber every day because I wanted to keep it in order and I wanted to go along that way. But then I got to ply it together and sort of relive all of the spinning, which was really fun. I like to ply. I think it's fun to see how the yarn shapes up. And now I have started a shawl with this. So these are my last 2 skeins. You can see these ones have a little more sort of purple and still have some of those light pinks. And I decided to do a shawl for Andrea Mowry's March to May knit along. So this is the start of an Inclinations shawl. So I love this kind of a pattern. Inclinations shawl is, oh, it's a mouthful. The Inclinations shawl is a half fisherman's rib, which is a really fun pattern to work flat because the back side is all knitting. So anyway, so this is really fun. It's enjoyable. It is, at the beginning here, it's not looking all that variegated, but you can see the striping in it. I think it's going to be really awesome when I get to the end, and it's also going to be a big shawl, a squishy warm shawl, and really different from a lot of the shawls that I have. I tend to do a lot of purple, tend to do a lot of green, and this is not a color. If I saw yarn in the store that looked like this, I'd probably walk by it, where having spun it, I'm really excited about it. So that's going to be one of my major whips right now. I mentioned already I have a lot of whips, and I keep looking in that corner because they're all up there looking at me. And I try not to feel too bad about that because, as I mentioned as well, I do have a job. I do have other things that take my attention daily. So working on my knitting and my spinning is supposed to be fun for me. It's supposed to be enjoyable, and I try and keep it that way. And I feel like I get to work on whatever I feel like that day, if that makes sense. It's kind of important to me. It's also a reason why I struggled to do the last couple test knits that I've done. They came out fabulous. They were done by the testing deadline, but it made me feel like I had to be monogamous to my knitting and that's not normally really my thing. So I'm trying to find the best balance of maybe working on 4 or 5 things at a time as a rotation, maybe one thing I can't commit to one thing a day. I'm not going to commit to that, but you know, having sort of like a whip of the week, trying to limit my cast-ons because I definitely do get into casting on a lot of things. I get really excited about the casting on. I get really excited about learning new techniques. So doing a different type of short row, doing a different type of construction like this sweater, that can be really exciting for me. And then I get to a point where if I'm just knitting the body of a sweater, I start to lose steam a little bit. So I'm trying to turn that around. And I'm trying to be patient with myself, but also try and balance learning new techniques versus doing just simple knitting, you know. I know this is something that a fair number of people struggle with, so if you have tips for me, please share them. I'm happy to hear about any ideas that, you know, I struggle with this, so so it's definitely something that I would like to learn how to fix. So, okay, so I do want to share another whip here. Speaking of sweaters that are just knitting a body, right? This is a stripes. I feel like I'm only sharing Andrea Mowry patterns today, and that is not intentional, but it also kind of makes sense. I do love her patterns. So this is the front side here. This is a stripes that I'm working on. You can see I slid off for the sleeves here, and I have a few stripes already below in the body. I think it's going to be fairly cropped. This is my first circular yoke sweater, so I have tried it on throughout the process, and it looks like it's fitting well, but I am not yet sure how much of this puckering is going to go away. I've heard that a lot of it does when you block it. I'm a big believer in blocking, but I didn't want to get discouraged based on the puckering, because even without blocking it, when I tried it on, it looked pretty good. So I just decided to keep going. I know I'm going to do at least the recommended length for a cropped sweater, and then I'm going to see how it looks with my dresses. I wear a lot of Woolland dresses. They're really lightweight and soft, but they're wool, and I'm big into wool, obviously. So even during the summer, I like to wear those. But during the winter, I like to wear them with a sweater over them. And I'm thinking this would look really cute with a couple of the ones that I have. So I'm trying to see, I like to wear a cropped sweater with dresses or skirts, or sometimes with like a high-waisted pant. And otherwise, I like everything to be super long. If I'm wearing jeans and a t-shirt, I like long shirts and long sweaters. I think that's more flattering for me personally on my plus size frame, as it were. So, so yeah, so the circular yoke, I liked doing it. I am not entirely sure yet how it's gonna look, and I just gotta keep going. I was working on this last summer. I was really excited about it, and then I did a couple test knits. I did the Down Cellar Studio pigskin party, where you're supposed to be working on new cast-ons that you started after the deadline was like September 7th, after it started. So I put this down, and then like one thing led to another, and I put it down for 9 months, which is really long for something that honestly I think is so beautiful. It's kind of my colors, a lot of it is. I'm like an autumn kind of a person, and I just think it's going to be beautiful. I also, if we're looking at this, it has 9 different colors. A couple of them are commercial yarn. This one, that one were all commercial yarn in my stash. But I I spun this, I spun this, I spun this, I dyed this, I spun this, I spun that. So, so it's not just any stripes. It's going to be totally unique to me because I made so much of the yarn and I made it for this. I was really excited about combining some of the things that I had in my fiber stash into a sweater. So I've got to stick with it. This is like my whip of the week right now. I've just realized I hit my microphone when I did that, and I'm sorry, guys. Anyway, I'll try to do less of that. But this is my whip of the week. I like how it's looking. I picked it up after I finished this 2 days ago. 2 days ago. Yeah, okay. So I just picked this back up. But I've done, 8 rounds or so since I picked it up, and I'm really happy with it. And I just feel like I have a new sort of take on it, having walked away. That said, I also have a whip that, a knitted whip that I'm not so happy with. And then I tried on and decided I'm going to frog. So, I had started a Resource Raglan Light when Sarah Opie, or Evanescence, when she came out with the Resource Raglan. I really like the Resource Raglan as a concept, and I think it is so helpful. I'm definitely going to make future Resource Raglans. But I started with a folded collar, and I was kind of waffling on the folded collar. So I did a folded collar, which I think looks really nice here. It looks really nice when I'm looking at it. I wanted to do a wide raglan because I saw that option on one of the test knits. You can barely even see. My fingers are sort of framing it here. Here and there are where the actual increases are on the outside of that wide section. I thought that would look really cool because I saw it on some of the test knits and it looked cool. The issue with this for me are a couple issues. So one thing is I dyed the yarn. Classic Diana here. I dyed the yarn and I dyed 5 balls as 2 of them. I wanted it to look like denim, like a little bit faded denim, but that was a little bit short-sighted because I don't know how much I want to wear a shirt that just looks like denim with jeans. So I'm kind of questioning that at this point. And I think I'm going to use this yarn for a striped shirt where there's something that really offsets the sort of denim look of it. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. But at any rate, I feel like when I was striping the 2 balls here, I think it got really obvious, and I don't think you're going to be able to see it when you're looking at it, but I did it within one of the raglans because that's where the end of round is, I think. Yeah, that's what I think. Anyway, so I tried to do that at the end of round approximately, and I just think it got a little bit squidgy, a little bit bunchy. I don't like the way that it's laying, and because it's within this wide raglan, which is supposed to be like a nice smooth column, it just doesn't look right to me, and that started bothering me. So then I thought about, well, do I frog back like 4 or 5 rounds and not do that there, or find another way? I was trying to alternate the balls because it's hand dyed, and I did a little bit of a gradient, so I wanted it to flow smoothly instead of being this ball, that ball, that ball. But I think the way I'm doing it just didn't work for this. And then when I thought about ripping back a few rows, I thought, let me put it on try it on tubing and let me actually try it on and see how it looks and see what I think about it. And when I did that, I'm just trying to see which way is the front, which way is the back. All right. So when I did that and I tried it on, I realized this neck is way too tight for me. I know it's not actually too tight, but it's too tight for me. I do not like crew necks. And I was trying to go, I went with the bigger size of the neck, but I'm going to have to go with the V-neck or adjust this sweater or do something different with it. There's plenty of instructions in the pattern because the pattern's like a whole book. So I'm sure I can make a change, do something totally different. I also am thinking, you know, I'm okay with a crew neck cardigan. Sometimes I like that look. So maybe I would use hand spun or non-superwash wool and then just steek a sweater made from the resource Raglan. Maybe I'm just going to use it as a resource and not so much as a pattern. But I will tell you, I am so sensitive with my neck. I just feel, I've heard other people say this too, so maybe this is helpful, maybe not. Maybe it's just me. But I definitely start to feel like things are a little bit choky if they're anywhere near my neck. So anyway, so I just felt like, you know what? I'm not that far into this anyway. I would love to use this yarn for something else. So I've already sort of started looking at my handspun stash and thinking about what I could stripe with this that would look really good and enhance the look of this. And then I wouldn't have to do helical knitting or alternate striping of the handspun, because I could do a stripe of this one, a stripe of a contrast yarn, and then a stripe of the next ball, and you wouldn't notice it as much because of the contrast yarn. So I'm thinking about whether I design or use a pattern that I have, or do a hybrid of the above. I often modify things. That's kind of my thought. So anyway, let me know what you think, but I think this is getting the frog this week. So it is what it is. I really like the way the folded collar came out. So I'm thinking about also just doing a couple calculations that, like, if this folded collar was 3 or 4 inches longer and it could be more of a scoop neck, I mean, either way I had to frog it. But darn, it looks so nice knitted up. I really like the yarn. I really like the way that I did the folded collar, totally according to the pattern. But like, I like the way, I hadn't done that before. And the way she teaches you or tells you to do it and the way it came out, it's a shame. So I have probably been thinking about frogging this for a few months, and that's why it didn't get any further than it is. I also think the wide raglan itself, you can kind of see it better here. I don't think it's so flattering on me. I don't know. I don't think it looks the same as, like, I'm kind of questioning whether I would want to do the wide raglan anyway. I kind of think, you know, there were other options for decorative raglans, and I think maybe doing like a cabled raglan or one of the other smaller decorative options would be better. And I don't think it's going to be with this yarn. So I learned a lot. I think I'm going to frog it. That's it. It will be something else. And the last whip that I wanted to show you is a spin that I have in progress. I have several spins in progress. Just like knits, I tend to do multiple things, but I'm really excited about how this is going. So this is going to be a spindle spin completely, and it's going to be about a 3-ply fingering. It might be a little light fingering, but I expect it to be 3 plies. I am using some Inglenook fiber. They had a special Barbie World colorway, and it is really fun. It came in a bunch of little balls of fluff. It's just beautiful. It's sparkly. It's got llama, merino, some of that sparkle in it, and there were a bunch of different colors. But it's very heavy into the pinks and peachy colors. And this is a spindle that is pretty full right now, so I'll show you. And I've just started spinning some of the green on my next spindle. So I think this is going to be absolutely lovely. I just can't get over the sparkle. Oh my goodness. It's beautiful. So there are blues and teals and purples and pinks. It's really fun. Sometimes you open up a little bit of fiber and it has more color than you expected. So like this one was orange and then there was a bunch of green sort of tucked in it, and that was really exciting. So yes, I'm really excited about this spin. It's going to take me a while because I'm working on a few spins and this is going to be completely on my supported spindles. But I just wanted to share a little bit of that process with you. So I think that's it for me this week. Thank you again. If you're still here, I really appreciate it. I'm going to figure things out. It's going to take me a little bit of time, and I'm okay with that. I'm really big on, I try to have a growth mindset, and I try to think about the things that I can learn, even if I do make a mistake or don't get something exactly right, and that's what I'm trying to do here. So thank you for bearing with me through this process, and stay tuned. I will share some more finished objects and some more whips next time on Very Wool.